We've been temporarily relocated, so there's going to be a new background and a new atmosphere for a little while. I got a few comments asking for a finance related video, and it's been a while since I've gone over that topic, so I thought it might be a good idea to finally make an updated video on this subject. Being frugal sort of came hand in hand with being a minimalist. I naturally just wanted to own less as a minimalist, and this obviously led to less spending in total. But it goes a little bit deeper than just wanting less clutter. I wanted a little more financial stability. And I know that I wanted to come up with some sort of simple, frugal spending rules for myself that just might put me in a better financial position. It should be mentioned that I am by no means a professional financial advisor or expert, and everyone should just take these pieces of advice with a grain of salt and do whatever works for them in their own lives. In all my videos, and especially in this one, I just talk about the things that I do and share my experiences and hope that whoever's watching can get some value or inspiration out of them. But first, if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. Here we talk about minimalism and things of that nature. So if that sounds good to you and you end up liking the video, be sure to like and consider subscribing. Let's get started. These are just a few simple money handling rules, and the first one is obvious, and that is setting a budget. I put this first on the list because budgeting is an important foundation for setting yourself up for financial gain. Planning monthly spending ahead and planning for expenses helps me stay on track with my spending. Knowing monthly income versus expenses is important for me to identify financial priorities. Budgeting was also important for me because it showed me where I was spending a lot more money than I initially realized, and it helped me address that as needed. The second little rule I set for myself is transfer instead of spend. This is a very practical rule that I set for myself, and I like it because I see the benefits of it instantly. When I'm thinking about buying something that I'm not sure that I really need or even want, sometimes I'll take the exact cost of whatever that item is and just transfer it right into my savings account. So maybe it was a $40 hoodie that I just wanted in the moment. Sometimes I dig up the willpower to just take that $40 and transfer it from my checking account to my savings account and put that money somewhere that I at least deem a little more responsible, in a place where it will be when I need it most. And this leads me to a place where at the end of the month, I have pretty much a visual representation of how much I almost spent on things I didn't really need. And instead of losing that money, it's now in my savings account. The next thing here is selling unwanted things. And this is something I recommend everybody does when they first start decluttering. I've mentioned this before, and I'll say it again every time selling things comes up. I've pretty much built my entire PC with things that were unwanted that I sold on OfferUp. Decluttering things I didn't want anymore and making a little extra money while doing it. You might be surprised to learn that people are willing to buy the old golf clubs that have been sitting in your closet for years, because that's exactly what happened to me. And for what it's worth, it feels good getting rid of things and giving them to people who will probably get more use out of it, especially when they're giving you money for it. And the next piece of advice here is learn how to do it yourself. But I say this very lightly because I'm a firm believer in letting professionals take care of difficult jobs. But if there is something I feel like I can learn to do myself and it'll save me time or money down the road, I'll take the time to learn how to do it. And a good example was learning to cut my own hair, which I clearly haven't done in a while. But I did learn how to do it. The cost of one haircut was the equivalent to buying one pair of clippers and all the other things I needed to cut my own hair, which ended up saving me a lot of money. I know the next thing I want to learn how to do is change the oil in my car, and I'm notoriously an idiot when it comes to cars, but I thought that's something that's definitely worth learning because I know it'll potentially save me time and money down the road. Not to mention, YouTube itself is a great way to learn to take care of these tasks that can save you money. The next piece of advice here is focusing on debt before saving. And this is just a personal preference. I think everyone's going to have their own opinion on what's right versus wrong when it comes to debt. I know how it feels to have credit card debt or some sort of loan debt. And again, personally speaking, I'd rather pay off debts before focusing on any type of saving. Between interest, monthly payments, and just having something else to remember to pay monthly is enough to make me focus on getting rid of that first. But don't get me wrong, I still think it's very important to have a savings account. I just prefer to focus on tackling debt quicker. And the last thing here is probably something you've heard a million times, and that is using cash. Something so simple but so often overlooked is the simplicity of using cash when spending. The beauty of knowing exactly what I'm spending and have left right in front of me helps me keep me more conscious and aware of how much I'm actually spending. And I think there has to be some sort of psychological factor that plays in when you're actually seeing your money go, and perhaps it makes me just a little more careful with it. And not to mention, one of my favorite things about using cash is when I get my change back, I throw it right into this change jar that I cash in every few months or so. And I'm usually pleasantly surprised with how much actually ends up coming out of this change jar. I think I paid for about half of my Iceland ticket with it. I think the way to get the most out of these tips isn't just by taking one or two of them, it's by compounding a lot of them and applying them into your life. They're helpful in their own ways, but I've learned that each one of these frugal habits works best when they're used alongside one another. And I'll say it one more time, everyone's situation is very different, so take each one of these pieces of advice with a grain of salt and apply them as you feel like best fits your own life. Anyways, I hope you got some value out of this video, and as always, I appreciate the time you spent here watching. If you did like this video and you do like this type of content, be sure to like and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you next time.